Okay, so we have Ashley Dwyer taking one for the team for all of you guys because part of the most important thing you can do is share your story. And when you share your story, you've got to be vulnerable. That's when you're going to get people to actually listen to you. So I put together a tiny little presentation for you guys as we go through the story training with Ashley. Turns out my thing is not opened, which I thought it was, so bear with me for a second. My computer likes to do a little thing of its own. There it is. Okay. It's really simple. It's kind of up to you on how much you want to get involved, but the more you put effort into it, the better you're going to do. So first of all, let me get this into a full page too. Okay, so this should be pretty self-explanatory. I found myself doing this last night. Ashley and I went to a networking group last night and people, asked what we did. And I didn't share my story. I kind of got home last night and I was like, yeah, I told people it's fruits and vegetables in a capsule, but I didn't tell them my story. And it truly is the most important tool that you can have. So it is absolutely about remembering that. You're like, when we flew from Seattle to Hawaii, we didn't have an internet connection. I couldn't pull up my phone and show someone a video of Juice Plus. All I have is my story, and that's perfect. So we want to make sure we have it down that's clear, concise, and a little bit vulnerable. So this should be nothing new, but in order to be able to tell your story, you've got to have belief. And sometimes we have belief in some areas and not any at all in others. So most of us have a belief in our product because we know what it's done for us and we know what it's done for our clients. But even though you may have a belief in your product, it's not always going to transfer through with this story that you have. You develop this over time. Belief in the company definitely happens as you get to events, especially corporate sponsored events, conference, being able to go into this building and tour it and, be able to talk to people at corporate. The more you interact with them, the better it's going to be. And then the thing where I see people fall short in the most is belief in yourself. And if you don't have belief in yourself, everyone's going to feed off of that energy. You have to be able to build that up. And that is through talking to other people, being able to do things that may make you a little bit uncomfortable, but things that make you grow. And being able to be a reader. Readers are leaders. They say it over and over again. Being able to learn something and then teach it to others. So we are really lucky to have so many leaders in our company. You don't have to just stick with people in your team, although people in your team are amazing, but a lot of times you're going to learn from someone who's outside of your organization. Like yesterday we had Beverly Grandison talk to us, and everybody learned a ton of things. But these are the three things that I think you have to have when you are working this business. You hear us say it all the time: duplication, duplication. It's incredibly important. If you can become qualified and teach other people to become qualified, your organization is going to grow. And repetition, it really is the mother of all skill. If you're not repeating the same thing over and over again, you got to find what works for you. And being able to have your story is something that we all have to develop more repetition with. That's not the only thing, but that is our focus for today. And being able to have appreciation. There are so many people in this company who are willing to give you whatever you need. They have no financial gain from it. They just want to help leaders grow, and you kind of continue to pass that along to other people. So for me, I didn't make up this training. I made up these slides, but none of this is my own. Leanne Gordon, last year, she was at a Raleigh regional, and she taught a whole group of people how to develop their product story. And then later I went to an event in April, to a GoPro event. And Eric Worre taught us about how to create our business story. So I'm basically duplicating this. I'm just showing you guys what can be done with this. So, but I want you to kind of get in the perspective first and think, what if? What if I was on this event right now telling you that there's no more Juice Plus? Like, Juice Plus just contacted me and said, tell your team, tell the organization, we're closing up shop. There's no more Juice Plus. And I want you to, for a moment, write this down. What comes to your head? What do you think about when you don't have any more Juice Plus? What do you have to do differently? For some people, that puts in a huge amount of fear. into their lives. I remember Christy Rigdon was like, I've got to buy a juicer, and know that you got to plan ahead and stuff. So start thinking about that, because that's kind of being able to tap into that feeling is what makes you be more vulnerable and able to be able to develop your product story. So this is what we're going to do. This is the formula. There's 4 parts to it. I'm going to ask Ashley some questions and we'll come back to this, but I love this quote from Keith Ferrazzi. If you don't know who Keith Ferrazzi is, you need to. He wrote this amazing book called Leaders Eat Last. No, it's Never Eat Alone. All these books about food. Never Eat Alone. It's a really thick book. It's bright orange, and it is probably the Bible to network marketing, or just being a networker in general. So he says, I believe that every conversation you have is an invitation to risk revealing the real you. And that is something that I have seen Ashley Dwyer do, which is why it's so great to have her on here with us today, because Ashley is in the military. She has had a really stressful job from the very beginning in the last stages of her teenage years. And she gets out of her comfort zone for me. And someone who can do that and who can duplicate and teach to others and get out of her comfort zone and be vulnerable, that is someone who you're going to see as an incredibly successful national marketing director. So this is not an easy training to do, especially when you are on Zoom recording it. But I want you guys to be able to see how you properly do this, okay? So I'm getting my notebook out, and I'm going to basically write down as fast as I can what Ashley's going to tell me. So Ashley, go ahead and unmute yourself. The first thing I want you to do is I want you to tell me what your life was like before Juice Plus. But here's the rule. You're never allowed to say Juice Plus to me, okay? And I literally, so when I take notes, you guys don't have to do it the same way as me, but I put in before, like B and 4, because I try to make my notes be very quick. So there's some kind of like these keywords that I write down, because I'm going to read her story back to her. So Ashley, walk me through what life was like before Juice Plus.
Okay. Before Juice Plus. Sorry, I know I'm not allowed to say it. I won't say it again.
No, that's okay. So can you tell me first what you thought of when I said there's no more Juice Plus?
Oh, definitely. I felt loss. I thought about the money that I was going to have to spend to have the quality of life that I have now. I just kind of had, it brought a little bit of a panic to me that our lives were going to change. So.
Yeah. Yep. It's scary to think that. But it's good. Do you agree that it gets you in like a good frame of mind to think about what your life has been like with Juice Plus and without it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I don't even like you saying that out loud. Like, that's how much I don't like it. Like, let's not make that joke, Christy. It's not funny.
Okay. Fair enough. Juice Plus they're built to last. They're going nowhere but up. So they're going to be around a long time. So, okay. So now walk me through, paint a picture for me and tell me what life was like before Juice Plus. Now, remember, the more details you give me, the better.
Okay.
All right.
Before, I was recovering from my 6th surgery, and I wanted more than anything to be active. I deal with high levels of stress at work all the time, and the only way I know how to deal with my stress is to be active. And when you've had 6 surgeries, it becomes increasingly harder to perform at the level you want to after each one. And then when they start stacking up like that, it's even harder. I began gaining weight. I was so hard on myself and upset with myself from gaining the weight that I did with each surgery. I gained 10 to 15 pounds that I could not lose. So some of them I gained more weight, but I was able to lose a little bit, but the average was 10 to 15 that I kept from each surgery. And that was very difficult. I couldn't do the things that I wanted to do, and I couldn't be as active as I wanted to be. And I began to hurt, not just the recovery from the surgery, but my body began to hurt, and I began to feel unhealthy and disgusting. I was disgusted with myself, with my body, with, how I felt about myself. It was like this double-edged sword. I was mad at myself for allowing it to get that out of control. But then I was mad at myself for being so hard on myself, because it wasn't, just a choice to eat unhealthy. It was, an injury that I had to recover from. So like, I would go back and forth between beating myself up for letting it happen, and then beating myself up for, being that hard on myself and beating myself up. So it was just, it was a battle. And, I caught myself doing less things with my friends, being less active, not even going to the things that I would normally go to, because I didn't want to tempt myself with, let's say going to the boat for the weekend and my friends are kneeboarding, then I would want to do that because I've always been active and I've always been able to do those things. But now I'm, I wasn't at the point where I could do it. And then I stopped working out because I hurt too much already. I did not want to hurt anymore. And it was at the point where it was affecting me mentally, because I was just in pain every day. And I didn't want to be around people because I didn't want to be that person, that dark cloud. And I felt like that dark cloud. So I kind of started to ostracize myself. So that was before.
Okay. So I did my best to take notes, but so I'm really glad we have this recorded so you can go back and fine tune it. But what I want to know is all the things that you just told me, I want you to wrap this up in a bow, an ugly bow, because you didn't feel good. And I want you to give me a feel word. Like, knowing all of this, how does it make you feel?
That's hopeless. That's the big word.
See what just happened there? Like, more, you got me. Like, Pam and Morgan, Pam, I know you just joined, but like, hearing your friend say that she feels hopeless, like, what does that do for you guys?
Want to go run over and give her a big hug.
Right? So this is the reason I ask you why you feel, what made you feel this way? Because when you tell someone that you felt hopeless, they want to help you. They want to listen. Part of the reason we don't get everyone in the world on Juice Plus is because they're not listening. They already feel like, a lot of times, these preconceived notions that you're just, they're just trying to sell me something, right? So it is imperative that you tell someone how you feel, okay? So now we're going to get to the good part, because I know Ashley has a really good Juice Plus story, but she's not allowed to say Juice Plus. But now, and I'm writing on a new page, now, today, how do you feel? Tell me what your life is like. Paint me your Juice Plus picture.
Well, today, it gave me my life back. It allowed me to reduce the amount of inflammation that I had on a daily basis in my body. And it allowed me to go out and do the things that I wanted to do and be active the way, I'll never be able to be the athlete that I was, but I could go out and be active, and I could, it gave me hope, because there was light at the end of the tunnel.
I'm still writing. Hold on. Okay. So I know you have more than that in your story, because I'm your friend and I've heard you say it a lot. So sometimes when you're doing this training, you kind of want to go off of the fess up questions. If you know Dr. Misha Ray, she has fess up questions. So right? Am I using that right, Pam? It's been a while, but I think about your salt and sugar cravings, your energy level.
So you said now, do you want me to talk about like the transition?
You can. So you told me if F is for fitness, E is for, am I going off of this? It's been years. It's kind of coming to me. But I go through like, what are your salt and sugar cravings? Has any of that changed? Even though she didn't talk about food very much, if you have someone, and Ashley's doing a good job, but I want to say sometimes you're going to feel like you're pulling teeth when you're doing this. So they may just be like, well, I feel better or something like that. And you're like, okay, so let's try and get some more. And I know Ashley has more details than this. So even though
FESSUP is what? Fitness, energy, sleep, and salt and sugar.
That's it. Yes. Thank you. Yes. Fitness, energy. Yes.
So then to me, that's not right now, but probably 2 weeks after I started, I'm a big sleeper. Like I'm in bed by 10 and I will sleep until 8 if I'm allowed. So I've never really had issues sleeping, but I was up at like midnight and I was scrubbing the shit out of my kitchen counters for like the second night in a row. And I just had so much energy. Like I wanted to go run a 5K or something so I could go to bed. And I was like, what in the hell's wrong with me? Why all of a sudden can I not sleep? And it dawned on me that the only thing that I had changed was adding this to my life. And so I was like, okay, so I have to counteract this. I need to start being more active. And, like I said, I had stopped all of my activity because my body hurt so bad. So I decided that I was going to start working out with a personal trainer. And so I went with a personal trainer and I had a whole list of things that I was not going to do because of my injuries. Like I'm not going to do push-ups because I just, my 5th surgery was a shoulder surgery. So I'm not going to do push-ups because I can't. And I'm not going to do sit-ups because I have a plate in my neck. And, I had this list and I'm sure she was thinking, yeah, well, what are we going to do? Sit there and look at each other the entire time? So I started working with a personal trainer. And the first day I went and I wasn't sore and I hadn't been active for months. And the second day I went and I wasn't sore. And so I was like, okay, you need to turn this up a little bit. Like clearly I'm not getting a good workout. So the third time I went, she kicked my butt and I woke up the next day and I wasn't sore. So I was like, what is this stuff that I'm taking? Like, holy cow, I can work out hard. I was doing squats and not having trouble walking for the rest of the week. Whereas before, like if I squat down twice, I would feel it for, a week afterwards. And it just wasn't an issue. So it gave me motivation back. It gave me a little confidence that I could be able to get back in shape the way I wanted to. Not a big salt or sugar person. I'm chocolate every now and then, so that really wasn't an issue, but fitness and energy through the roof.
That's what I'm looking for. I love that story of you cleaning your kitchen at night. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So do you feel like you told me everything you can think of right now about your life with Juice Plus?
Yes.
Okay. So now let's wrap this up at a pretty bow. Knowing how much your life has changed, where you're at now, how does that make you feel?
Secure.
Awesome. You ready for your story?
Sure.
Okay.
Maybe.
All right. So so we start from before. Okay. All right, we'll start with recovering from 6 surgeries because I think that's important. So you were recovering from 6 surgeries and you wanted to be active. Halo's going to drive me crazy. Hold on. Sorry. Go. Macy, go. Macy, go. Holy moly. Sorry. Okay. All right. So you're recovering from 6 surgeries and you wanted to be active. your stress levels were super high and you wanted to be able to deal with your stress levels, but because you couldn't work out, you were really struggling to deal with them. You had gained weight, you said about 10 to 15 pounds with each surgery, and you couldn't get rid of it because you couldn't be active. And then your body began to hurt, not just because of the surgeries, but because you weren't moving and your body was gaining more weight. And you said you felt disgusted with yourself and you were mad at yourself. And it was a double-edged sword because you were mad that you let it happen, but you're also mad that you were beating yourself up about it. You were less active. You didn't hang out with your friends as much. I can't look at you right now. You gave up things because you didn't want to tempt yourself. And because of things you felt you could no longer do. And you said it affected you mentally and you felt like you were in a dark cloud. And to summarize it, you felt helpless. But now you feel like you have your life back. Your inflammation is reduced. You're going out and doing things that now you want to do. You're as active as you possibly can be, considering the amount of surgeries that you've been through and that you will go through again. But you feel like you have a light at the end of the tunnel. But you found that energy was a really big thing because you were up at midnight scrubbing your kitchen, even though you were someone who could go to bed early typically. And you realized that you had to do something with that energy. So you started working with a personal trainer and you gave her a list of I can'ts, exercises that you didn't think you could actually do. But after your first session with her, you weren't sore. And you told her a couple times, after second or third one, I can't remember, you said, she needed to turn it up a notch. So she did. She kicked your butt and you still weren't sore. You have motivation and confidence. It's come back. And you feel so much better that you are able to deal with some of your stress, I'm assuming, because you can be more active. And because of that, you feel secure. And that's your Juice Plus story. So notice I said I used to, or I had recovering 6 surgeries, or I had 6 surgeries, and then I told Ashley a story, and then I said now. Do you notice that I didn't say Juice Plus at all? It's not because I'm embarrassed by Juice Plus. I'm not. I want to shout it from the rooftops. But what I want to do is dangle that carrot for when you're telling someone about your Juice Plus story. I want them to say, Ashley, what the heck did you do differently? That's the goal behind sharing your story. You don't want to sleep with them all in one night. You don't want to say that Juice Plus did all these million things until you tell them what your life was like before that. Even if you are incredibly healthy, you didn't have 6 surgeries. There are people who literally have never felt a difference with Juice Plus. But don't you think that they could even say, I just knew that my family wasn't eating enough fruits and vegetables. And I found something that had scientific data that said my blood was going to change. And I knew that long term that was good for my body. People think they don't have a story because they don't, they may not feel as many changes that Ashley feels. But still, they understand that the blood doesn't lie. They understand the research behind Juice Plus. So I encourage you to do this story with all of your team. You can't just write it. You can't just sit down in your notebook and write your before and afters because your head gets in the game. You just need to talk it out. The best thing I could tell you to do is to do this over Voxer. Pam and I did this with her distributor, and it worked out perfectly because then we didn't miss a beat. We had everything she had noticed all recorded. So do this with your team, but do this with your customers. Your customers don't realize they have a Juice Plus story, or one that they can talk about. And your customers can be your biggest proponents of Juice Plus. So those are the ones that give you referrals, and people trust what other people have to say. So that is your product story. So now I'm going to go and show you the elements of creating your perfect business story. Okay? And I'll be really quick with this slide. Okay, so that was the formula for the product story. The business story is also 4 points. Okay? So we're going to go through this. I learned this at GoPro. He even talks about it a little bit, a tiny bit in his book. So much so that I never even realized that I had heard it before. And I've listened to this book over and over again. I've read it front to back. And after I went to his training, I realized that this was amazing training. That was one sentence in a book, and he made a training out of this. But Simon Sinek is amazing. He talks about start with why. And if you feel like you don't have a why, you need to look at his TED Talks. And he says, people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And what you do simply proves what you believe. And there's no secret that anyone who is working the Juice Plus business, they truly have a belief in sharing it with others because of stories like Ashley's. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about first the background, okay? That's the first part of the story. The way I take notes is really easy. You guys got to find your own system, but I just write one background, okay? So before Juice Plus, you know, or even tell me, because you are not just working Juice Plus, you do have a full-time job right now too. So just give me your background. Tell me what you do for a career.
I have been in the military since I was 17 years old. I have really no other job experience outside the military. I was in Iraq at 19 and 23, and I am now 33, and I'm at the end of my military career, and I was not looking for anything else. So I was starting to realize that I needed to plan for my future, and that is, I kind of stumbled upon this opportunity.
Notice how she says this opportunity, because again, we're not allowed to say Juice Plus because we want them to ask. Not a sneaky way. We just want to create curiosity. Ashley was at this training with me, so she's perfect to do this with. The second part is the struggle. Okay. So I don't care if your job wakes you up every single day and you love it. I love my job, but there's still a struggle. Okay. So I want you to tell me the struggle that you have with your job, or maybe the approaching, you know, you just said you're approaching the end of your military career. So tell me about the struggle.
So the struggle that I've had with my current position is that, you know, as a woman soldier, you have to work twice as hard as your counterparts for the same recognition. It's a very negative environment, and you don't have a lot of fellow female soldiers to link arms with and lift you up. It's very competitive and sometimes even very cutthroat. So it just has become a environment that my heart is not in anymore. I'm proud of what I've done. I'm proud of my fellow soldiers, and I'm proud of my country, but it's just not something that I want to continue to be in.
Okay.
And my body is done.
Yes, good point.
Yeah.
Okay, so the third part is the opportunity, and it's not saying the Juice Plus business. Again, I'm going to sound like a broken record. You do not say Juice Plus in this. So tell me about this opportunity. What has being, and I'm allowed to tell you, say the Juice Plus business because I'm interviewing you, but what has being a part of this opportunity, the Juice Plus business, what has it done for you so far to this date?
Okay. So this opportunity has introduced me to a group of like-minded individuals that have just really inspired, lifted me up, and loved on me when I needed it the most. So it's just really brought the most amazing people into my life that, you know, I instantly friendships for life that I found through it. And just some of the greatest people I know that are the opposite of everything that I just listed. So.
Yep. And that is so true. I will second you on that one. Okay, so the last part is one of the things that I love the most about this business is that it teaches people how to dream. So, and I think one of the most exciting stories you can tell someone is what you're most excited about. So your future with the Juice Plus company, what are you most excited about? What do you see it doing for you?
I'm most excited about the fact that there's no one telling me I can't do something. The limits are or it's limitless. But
Thanks for that.
yeah. The opportunities are limitless. It literally gives me the tools that I need to do whatever I want, whenever I want, be whatever I want, however I want, wearing whatever I want. Like it's the best opportunity that I could possibly ask for. You know, that's the polar opposite of what I'm coming from. Again.
Okay, so I need you to paint me more of a picture though. You have a family now.
I have what?
You have a family now.
Yes.
What is this going to do for you and your family?
It's going to allow me to stay home and have children and be there for them, not have to worry about getting deployed if I have a child, support them, feed them well, make sure that they're getting the nutrients that they need. They're going to be healthy. I think we should have done the business story first.
And there is absolutely some truth to that, because I think we should be more aware of leading with the business first, because we did do that. Do you notice that we did that last night with, I believe her name was Tina, really adorable girl in the service. And we were telling her about what our team is like, right? And you could see she was like, we were saying these things that Ashley was talking about, because we do have such a phenomenal team, you know, and we were talking about being a part of something. And she had no idea what Juice Plus was. So there is something to be said about sharing your business opportunity first and asking them, well, what is it that you do? And then you can then go in and say, well, here's what it did for me. I can't tell you what Juice Plus does until I tell you what my life was like before that. And then you go into what life was like before Juice Plus, right?
Yeah, she thought we were some meetup group, actually. Yeah. Like, no, we get paid.
Yeah.
To be friends. It's great.
Yeah, exactly. Kathy Prada says it's like the best sorority group she's ever been in. It's only $50 and you actually get paid.
There's no hazing.
There's no hazing. That's what Patton said. Are you leaving?
Yeah.
Okay.
See you later.
Good luck.
Bye, ladies.
Hi, Patton.
It's just a coaching call.
This is story, creating your story.
You're recorded.
Yeah.
I'm recording. All right. Ashley, in 30 seconds, what's your biggest accomplishment in life? What's the
In life?
you're most proud of anything in your life?
Putting myself above the military after 16 years.
Yeah.
It's a pretty sad, big accomplishment.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What's
What
yours?
else? What else? What's your second biggest one?
My second biggest accomplishment?
Something that like
Achieving
gets
everything that I've done by myself.
what is something that gets you excited in life?
Not getting grilled without being prepared.
Me too, actually.
What are you trying to get to? What's your point?
My biggest
Yeah.
accomplishment was convincing this girl to marry me, because you know what the odds were? They were like completely not in my favor. Beautiful. I'm Patton, right? Like
Stop.
there was nothing that was gonna like really. I don't know how I pulled it off. You know what I mean? But what I'm trying to figure out is if I can talk with that type of passion about Juice Plus and about my business, then I'll be able to kill it with the business. So think of it that way. I'll see you guys later. That's what your story needs
Be
to
careful. Go kill it. He's trying to talk to a wind tunnel guy.
Oh.
All right. So, are you ready for your your business story?
Sure.
Okay. So, you have been in the military since you were 17 years old. Hey, buddy. You went to Iraq at 19 and 23, and you're now 33, and you're approaching the end of your career. As a woman soldier, you have to work twice as hard for the same recognition. You're a lot of times in a negative environment. It's competitive and cutthroat. and there's not many people to uplift you. You're proud of what you do, but you're not ready to continue, and neither is your body. And luckily, you've come across an opportunity. You've been introduced to a group of like-minded individuals who have inspired you, who've lifted you up. They've loved on you when you need it the most, and you've created friendships for life. But you are most excited about telling you that you can't do something. You have the tools you need to create the best opportunities for yourself. You're going to be able to be a stay-at-home mom, and you're never going to have to worry about doing another deployment again. You're going to be able to support your family, feed them well, and keep them healthy. That's your business story. So as I tell you that, I want to do what Eric Worre had us do, okay? So when we did this, we had to tell our story 3 or 4 times, right, to a different person each time. So he just wrote on the board 1, 2, 3, 4. The first one's your background. The second one's the struggle. The third one is your the opportunity that you've been presented. And then the fourth one is what you're most excited about. So off the cuff, we kind of had to do this. And then he said, I want you to tell me, I just now want you to say number 3 and number 4, the opportunity and what you're most excited about. So Ashley, do you mind telling me number 3 and number 4 again?
The opportunity and what I'm most excited about?
Yep.
No.
She's saying no for a reason, but just play with me.
Okay. The opportunity and what I'm most excited about.
Yes.
The opportunity, I'm to work with amazing people that have brought so much positivity and light into my life, that are inspired by helping others, and some of the most selfless people I've ever known. And I'm excited about that because it paints this bright picture for my future. I know, buddy. Thank you. I'm glad. I'm most excited about my future because I get to work with these people in the future, and it's going to allow me to spend more time at home with my family and be able to raise children, not having to worry about deploying and putting my uniform on and being away from home so much.
So you guys, and even though those are great answers, did you notice how she struggled at first? She was kind of like, it just wasn't coming out right. And so this is why people say no to when you present the business to them, because it's pretty, as great as her answer is, and I know it's not just an answer, it's what her truth, it's how she feels. It can seem a little self-indulgent, because I found this and I found that. When you hear that this woman who has been in the military since she was 17 years old, she's gone to Iraq at age 19 and age 23, she's working as hard as she possibly can, 2 times harder to get the same recognition that a man can, and she has hardly any women in the military to support her. You want to help her a heck of a lot more when you hear that than when you just hear number 3 and number 4. The reason I'm convinced why your family says no to you in this business when you tell them that you've recently come across something new or you need their help is because you're not letting your family know that you're struggling. They don't know. Your friends don't know, the ones closest to you. They think they're protecting you from this pyramid scheme. They have no idea. They don't know what they know until you tell them where you're struggling. Because when Ashley gets to the struggle part, whether it's before her Juice Plus story, like before she had Juice Plus, Pam said, I want to help her. I want to go give her a hug. When you hear that this young girl is going to Iraq at 19 and 23 and there's no one giving her support, that's some scary SHIT that's happening right there. And she's got to work 2 times harder to get recognition. Painting your struggle is the most important thing you can do. Being vulnerable is incredibly difficult for people to do. But if we don't continue to work and teach people that being vulnerable is okay, I don't know where the world's going to go to. It's not just for the Juice Plus business. It's for humans to reconnect with humans and for us to be able to deal with our SHIT together. Okay? When someone loses their dad, I immediately reach out and say, I've lost my dad too, let's talk. But if you've never lost your dad before, you feel a little uncomfortable talking to these people. Sometimes you just got to air out that laundry and let them know. Okay, so the last part of the little slide that I put together, because there's a lot of ways to share it. And, it is, for me, this is my most recent story. It's changed. It's the 10-day shred. This whole time I've been, this whole time I've been a skeptic from day one, from the product to T30 to 10-day shred. And I keep proving myself wrong that this product is worthy of sharing with people. I love that I was able to go to the bod pod and actually have, numbers behind what had changed in my body in 30 days. And I was able, because of you guys, to be able to share my story on the main stage. But I wish I would have had these tools before then. I wish last year when I was promoted to NMD, I was able to have a little bit more story training. So I want you guys to practice this. It's also because you guys have it in you to be at the top position in the company, to help as many people as you can around the world. So when you pay that $50 to be a Juice Plus rep every single year, you are opening up your own storefront. Yes, there's a tried and proven system, and you absolutely should connect with your upline and your sidelines. And for people to tell you the best way to get through this business is through, duplication, repetition, and of course, appreciation. But never apologize for who you are. Like, this is you. You bring what your skills are to the table, and you be loud and proud about it. Because if you're telling your story and you're not sounding like you, if Ashley's telling her story and Ashley doesn't sound like Ashley, people aren't going to listen. So don't hide. I love Jen Sincero. Is that how I'm saying her name right, Pam? From You Are a Badass. That book is amazing. Read it if you haven't. So here's your homework assignment. All the time. This should be your constant homework assignment. Is you got to tell your story. You got to tell your team. You got to tell your customers. We got to put it on YouTube. We got to have it in our team book. We've got to have this at our fingertips, because the more stories we have, the more we can connect one another. Duplicate and repeat. Do this over and over again. And that is going to raise your belief, whether it comes from where you need it most, whether it is from the product, the business, or yourself. But it is going to continue to raise your belief, and it's going to continue to raise your vibrations. So tell your story. Don't hold back. Continue to share it as much as you possibly can. Don't say Juice Plus, not because you're not proud of it, but because you want people to be intrigued and ask what that change was. Ashley, not many people would get on Zoom and be totally vulnerable. And I know it's not easy for you. So you deserve a round of applause or something for doing this, because you're taking one for the team big time. I can't thank you enough.
Thank you, Ashley.
Thank you, ladies.
Are there any questions you guys have about this? I know you've done this before, but sometimes we forget the basics. Did it help?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, so tell me a little bit more. How did that help?
Just because I connected with Ashley's story a lot, and I'm one of those people that don't like to share my story, and now it makes me want to share it, because I now feel like someone knows how I feel, and so I feel a connection, that human connection that Brene talks about, Brene Brown. Mm-hmm.
Yes. So actually, Morgan, since you're the one who discovered this amazing TED Talk, will you please share a snippet of that with everyone on here?
If you haven't watched Brene Brown's TED Talk on vulnerability, you need to. A doctor had me watch it because I don't like to be vulnerable, and it's probably the most amazing thing I've ever watched in my life. It's 20 minutes of what the world is about, is the human connection, and we're so cut off from the human connection because we're not authentic anymore, because people are judgmental and people don't want to share their story because they're feeling judged, and they just don't feel like they can be honest anymore about who they are. And so it is so important to be honest, so you can connect with people, where you go throughout your entire life and you don't feel connected and you just feel distant. And that's not how we're supposed to be. And so if you have not watched that TED Talk, you need to. It's only 20 minutes. So you need to do it.
Awesome. Thank you, Morgan.
I just sent it in the comments to you guys too, from where Morgan sent it to me.
Perfect. Yeah. So that's your homework assignment. I recommend doing it on Voxer so you have the recording and you can go back and tweak it. And you don't want it to be long. People don't have time anymore. And I believe I'm not right about many things, and I may not be right about this, but for me, my love language is when people steal my time, you can never get it back. So we have to be brief in our words as far as how our story goes and how you catch it. Think about a movie trailer. They're 2 to 3 minutes long, and that's what gets you to the movie theater, right? So bring them to the movie theater with shortening your story, giving those highlights, grabbing their attention, and making them want more. And we're all here to help you tweak that, but you got to start with something. And you have to have a partner to do this. You cannot do the story training by yourself. It's just not effective.
Can you explain how you record it on Voxer and you can tweak it?
Yeah, absolutely. So basically what I do, using my phone, obviously, I put in I text, so it's easier to go back and find it. I put your product story or your business story, and then I put number 1 before Juice Plus, and I voice it and I say, okay, tell me what your life was like before Juice Plus. You're not allowed to tell me what Juice Plus has changed. You cannot tell me any after story. You're not allowed to use the word Juice Plus. Just tell me what it is. So they just start talking. And it's okay at this point if they are talking a little bit longer, because you want to peel back all those layers of onion. You may have to guide them. They may not tell you much at all, or they may tell you a ton. So, if they tell you a ton, you have to kind of go back in and find the big important bullet points that catch you and that are worthy of being shared. And then after that, you type in again, part 2, Juice your life now with Juice Plus. Oh, but don't forget about asking them the feel word. So after they tell you about Juice Plus or their life before Juice Plus, you put feel, and then they need to wrap it up and say, how does that make you feel? I mean, you guys noticed when Ashley gave her feel word, right? I mean, when she said she felt helpless, she made us cry. You want to help people. Feel words can really, when you tell someone, when you can be vulnerable and say, and it made me feel, helpless. Tina Turner said, I didn't feel like a mom. Ouch. When we did that. So you gotta be vulnerable, and that's going to be the most effective part. So I label everything so that they know when they go back to listen, they can find that message. So same thing for after they go to, you put in what was life with Juice Plus. How does that make you feel? And then for the product story, I just put in, or for the business story, I put in business story. And then I say, the 4 parts. The first part is your background. The second part is your struggle. The third part is your opportunity that you've discovered that you're in right now. And then the 4th part is what you're most excited about. And you probably will have to lead some people a little bit, So they're not always as willing as Ashley is. So their story is going to change along the way too. My story is different last year than it is now. But it's good to have it all so you can go back and listen and write down those markers, those ones that hit you in the feels. And that's when you develop a little bit better, tighter story that you can fit in for 2 minutes. Any questions? All right. It's also good to share, having that business story is good to share when you have new downline come into your team, to share that and to share your product story, just to have it and say, welcome to the team. Here's my story, because they're always going to remember that. They're going to remember that the day one when they joined the team and they were welcomed by you, that you gave them your story. That's going to leave an imprint on them. So then they're going to do the same thing, and then we're at duplication again. All right, ladies. I hope you have a good day. Thanks for joining us this afternoon. Ashley, again, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank